I'm going live now. Hey, everybody, I want to welcome y'all. This is a special edition of The World According to Rocky and Keisha. I have brought her on here because the subject today is WIBO, along with the stimulus package and benefits that are offered through businesses and individuals through the stimulus package. We have what I consider an expert in business, period. But I actually have been talking to him this week, and he's been on a lot of calls that are related to building, that actually dealing with the people who put the package together, put the stimulus package together. And so without no further ado, I'm going to bring him on. He is the CEO of National WIBO. Thank you for joining us, Stephen. I want to appreciate you for coming on with us. There's been a lot of confusion and a lot of ambiguity, for the lack of a better word, regarding around benefits and the stimulus package and how it affects businesses, individuals, entrepreneurs, sole proprietors, so on and so forth. So I just want to step aside for a minute and so you can kind of inform us as to how can this stimulus package benefit small business owners and sole proprietors?
Thank you, Rocky. It is confusing, and every day something changes in how this package is being presented. The unfortunate part about, not unfortunate, I'm not going to even use words like that. The government did a best job they could do, and knowing how they was going to meet this challenge, unprecedented in our history. So a lot of things got rushed through, and now they're doing their best to band-aid much of it together. But so here's the lay of the land. There are two main packages that small businesses, independent contractors, and nonprofits can apply for. That's for individual. I'm only going to talk about the people who do not currently have an SBA loan. So if you currently have an SBA 7A loan or something, there's different protocols for that to get the loan deferred for a while. And the SBA is still doing bridge loans if a small business have contracts. But those type of loans are basically guaranteed approval loans that go through your lender. Okay. And that's where the problems are really starting to happen. So the first loan is the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Plan. So that loan was put together so that businesses can quickly rehire their staff and pay some bills. Okay, so they're asking that if you are going to rehire your staff, 75% of that loan should be used to rehire your staff. The other 25% can be used for other bills, invoices and things that come into that nature. So the issue with that we have discovered is that as you have to go to a lender, and the major and the banks aren't set up for it. So they're not set up to handle the amount of loans that they're getting and transmitting them to the SBA, and the SBA to communicate back with them. So many of the larger banks have already said that if you're not a customer, we're not processing the loan. Okay. So I have been advising small business owners who are not, to seek out B Corp banks. Those are the community banks or credit unions that have been certified to do this loan. Now on the SBA website, they are listing every day the lenders that are approved. Okay, and I don't have the link in front of me. I apologize. I was actually on a call this afternoon because, as I said, things are changing on a regular basis.
Yeah.
With really this. Fast. Yeah, but there is the SBA do have a page up where you can go to. I'm actually looking at my phone. I took some screenshots of some of this stuff. Where you can go to find the list of lenders. So here's the thing. You can apply for both. Actually, let me talk about the other one. The other one is the EIDL, the EIDL. That is the Economic Injury Development Loan. And that is actually in two parts. So the EIDL is also available to independent contractors, sole proprietors, 501c3s, and here is another clause. Some businesses that does not meet the normal small business number of over 500 employees can also apply. Franchises can apply, as well as hotel chains if the chain does not have more than 500 employees as well. So they kind of open it up to a wide group of people, I mean, of businesses. And these are these first come, first serve for that $350 billion that was set aside for that. Okay. Now there's talk about, another 350, $350 billion. Not certain of that. It's not hasn't been approved. So my number one thing is you should have been applying already. So the thing about the I'm gonna go. A lot of talk is really around the PPP. That's the one that has the most confusion. So the PPP loan, there's a portion of it that says that the loan can be forgiven if you keep your employees on board after June 30th, by June 30th. Okay. Now, the thing is, they don't say how much of the loan can be forgiven. And also, it is up to the lender to decide to forgive the loan, that portion of the loan. So they're saying that I think it's like 25% of the loan can be forgiven. However, that decision will be made by the lender. Okay. And so that's kind of scary to me right away, because lenders, banks are in business to loan to make money. Okay. So if your paperwork is not tight by June 30th, they're gonna look to find a way to not forgive the loan, even though it's low interest and everything like this. And that's the part that is really kind of nervous, because the banks, the major banks like Chase and Citi and Bank of America haven't, they're sketchy about it because they're not getting paid. They're processing a lot of loans that they don't see themselves making any money on. And like bank, like everybody else, is in business to make a profit. They got shareholders to speak, to answer to. So that is one of the things that's holding up. They're waiting for some more assurances from SBA, and then the second thing is also the technology of not being able to communicate, because there's a lot going on. Okay, so your loan. Here's the thing. So this is what they would say how this loan can be forgiven. So your loan can be forgiven or will be that's the reduction. Hold on, and let me see here. Yes. So the borrower would not be responsible for any loan payment if the borrower uses all of the loan proceeds for forgivable purposes described below. Okay. And that means that the actual amount of forgiveness will depend upon part that A, between February 15th and April 26th, you begin to hire back your employees if the loan has been, once you take the loan. And that your employees must be back on staff definitely by June 30th. Okay. So now here's the interesting thing about that. Businesses that are, say, the restaurant, and actually I've been hearing a lot from the restaurant industry, they're very nervous about this package because their employees don't make a lot of money. So there's another thing that's going on. There's unemployment, which is giving extra $600 up until July. I think it's July 13th that week. So what some business owners are afraid of is that their employees are going to stay on unemployment with the extra $600, which is actually more money than what they would be bringing home currently, and not go back to work. And now the business owner is not going to get the loan forgiven because all of his employees did not return to work. And my advice to these small business owners has been you need to actually work to convince your staff that the unemployment is short term. It's usually, they're talking about 6 months, right? And then after those 6 months, you're going to be forced to get out there and find a job, versus an employee that can keep you on board and pay your benefits still, because he has now the income to do this. And the small business owner, even though you now have the loan, you may not be able to open up. There's other things that you can do and giving back to your communities, because you now, you got the funds to actually do that. So I would say, and it's a hit or miss. There's not 100%, guaranteed that your staff is going to, just sit around and just collect the unemployment, but depending upon your relationship with your employees, you can probably convince them to come back, especially if you're doing more things within your community. When this whole thing started, I had some moments of like, what's really going to happen, what's really going to go on. And I had a conversation with my accountability partner, and she told me in times like this, she said, in tough times like this, the best thing you can do is either, you say you really got a choice, you either give back or give up. In all honesty, yeah, so I would say to, I've seen some incredible small businesses that have pivoted and have been finding ways to give back, find ways to stay in business. They're still applying for the loans as well. The thing is that apply for the loans. Okay, because you don't have to take them. You don't have to. You're not. You have up to 6 months, I believe, if you decide you don't want the loan. Some business owners are going to apply for the loan and probably will not want to take the cash until they're cleared to open, and they start to use the money at that point in time, hoping that this can, we start to get back to some normalcy next month, and some of these non-essential businesses can open up. We don't know that. We're guessing, and here in New York City, where we're in an epicenter. I think for the first time in 3 days, hospitalizations have not increased, but we had a crazy death toll of 600 and 700 people dying over 24-hour periods. So it's really we don't see normalcy happening until the summer, and there will still be maybe a lot of nervousness about people want to get back outside and be in the public and be around people. So we see social distancing happening for maybe a little longer before people really get comfortable. So, but getting back to this, so the PPP, so interest payments is deferred for 6 months. Okay, that's so if you take the loan, say you take the money in May, you have 6 months before you're gonna have to start to make your first payment. Okay. So now, also the thing is the payroll portion of it. If you have employees that's earning over $100,000, they're not eligible. If you have employees who are foreign based, who are not in the United States, they're not eligible. And calculating the payroll, how much of the payroll, and what they want you to do is you got to take the 12 months of your payroll, average it out monthly, and then multiply it by 2.5. And that would be the amount of the loan that you will probably will be given to you based upon your payroll. Okay. Anything other than that, you can ask for more than that to cover maybe the other 25% of your businesses. Okay. And yeah.
Well,
so go ahead.
I have a couple questions, Stephen, that and they're kind of situational.
Go ahead.
For when we're talking about very small business owners, sole proprietor, let's say a mom and pop, wife and husband run a business. They've taken a tremendous hit during this time. They can't function or operate. They have the loan that they can apply for, and they may or may not get it. It may or may not be forgiven. And then there's this unemployment option that they seem to qualify for as well, because they are sole proprietors and they operate a business, whatever. Is there an either or proposition for them, or kind of explain how a business would navigate those two particular options?
Well, okay. So first of all, just be if your first number one thing, you need to have been filed. Your small business need to have been filing taxes. If your small business has not filed any 2018, 2019 taxes, especially with 2018, 2019 is not necessarily due. But if you didn't file any 2018 taxes, you're not getting a loan, okay? Because they don't have a paper trail. And one of the documents is the 4506. That's the one that allows the IRS to turn over records to the SBA. So you're about to sign that document and allow the IRS to get that. Well, allow the IRS to turn over documentation to SBA prior to getting that loan. Okay. So if you are a small business owner, first of all, you need to have been filing some taxes. Okay. If you didn't file any taxes, then this is not going to help you out. you know, and it may help you out on, and even with as an independent contractor, if you file, and you can file for the EIDL as an independent contractor, but once again, you have got to show that you've gotten a 1099. So if you don't have a 1099 in the system with IRS, then once again, you're not going to be able to. Now, also, if you operate a small business as, say, a nanny or caregiver, okay, something you was doing in your house, you're not going to be, you don't qualify. Okay. Yes. So so if you just been doing caregiving in your house and you're not operating as an SBA or DBA, as a DBA or sole proprietor, you're not going to you're not going to be able to apply for a loan. You're going to get denied.
So that brings up another wow, Stephen, that criteria right there is going to disqualify a lot of people. They advertised that it was open to independent contractors and sole proprietors, but that particular
gotta have the paperwork.
Yes, and that's what that's getting to my next question. Is that with a sole proprietorship contract, not a contract laborer for that matter, or a contractor, independent contractor, is there a way for them to get over the paperwork hurdle if they don't have a 1099 or something like that? Can they just rely on their taxes, or is a 1099 the only other option for them?
And in honest opinion, I don't know, because that's, like I said, these answers fluctuate on a daily and weekly basis. My thing, I said, apply. The paperwork to apply, especially for the EIDL, you do that online. They would tell you what documents they want from you, and if you can supply what you can supply, and you'll get a judgment. If you don't like the judgment, if they deny you, you have 6 months to get paperwork together and reapply, as well. But this goes into how you run your business. So if you run your business, you know that there's a certain amount of paperwork the government wants on a regular basis. And Uncle Sam, he wants to, he wants to know that you respect him and at least file. You may owe him. You can owe Uncle Sam. He'll work out something you owe him, but he feels that if you don't file, you just disrespected me.
Absolutely.
And now we got a problem. You know you're in taxes. You know that the penalties is a lot larger for not filing than owing.
That's right.
So that's what this really breaks down to. This money is being made available for businesses that are doing the right thing based upon how they run their business. So the SBA is not going to approve any money if there's no paper trail to say that you're operating a legitimate business. There are some businesses that are also excluded. Businesses that are if your business is involved in gambling, if a certain amount of it comes from gambling, you're excluded. If you're involved in any of the sex trade industries, you're excluded. So there are a number of businesses.
Hold up, I don't want to. I want to get back on. You said sex trades. That's
yes.
a broad term, right? So the first thing for me that comes to mind,
if you run a strip club, you're excluded.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. Yes.
So a lot of the people in the independent contractor arena don't even qualify for these benefits. And they're overwhelmingly impacted by what's going on now, because their industry is shut completely down.
Correct. And that means best thing they can do is apply for unemployment. Which is the 6 months with the extra $600, and they're gonna have to. Is now you're hoping that after the 6 months you can return to work. That's that's the crapshoot, the dice game that you're gonna have to play in that situation.
Wow. So enhanced unemployment is $600 per week.
No, it's what you would normally get. You're plus an additional $600. Okay, so for everyone who's applying now, say their unemployment check would have been $400, would have been what they have gotten from what they qualify for traditionally unemployment. They would also get an additional $600 on top of that, which would give them $1,000 a week for up until July 13th.
That is very interesting right there.
Yes.
Because that puts a lot of people in a lot of money in some people's pocket that otherwise they wouldn't receive.
That's correct.
And I see why
10 million people have applied.
Oh, yeah.
How many?
10 million people have applied. We're well over 6 million, and we just got very close to approaching the 10 million mark of unemployed people in the United States who have applied for unemployment across the entire country. I know here in New York State, we're close to 500,000 who have been applying. And like everyone else, it's hard to get into the system again because these systems are old and archaic. They weren't built for scalability. And now they find themselves with a tremendous amount of numbers. So even that is getting difficult.
Well, I know that. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I know that I went on to the unemployment website, and I've seen all the news segments about it being really hard. Maybe because I went on there, it was easy at 4 o'clock in the morning. Now,
yeah.
People are asleep. There's not a lot of traffic going on during that time, but those crazy times in the morning seems to be, the most opportune time for you to get in and get out, and hopefully get you a number or get you your application done and submitted, so you can be in line or in queue for a phone call or an email back or something like that.
Now the struggle that states are having is they don't have the staff to process the number of applications they are receiving. So
some states have answered the call by hiring. Like here in New York, they hired an additional 300 individuals. So they're saying that by Friday, it should be a lot easier to manage the unemployment website or the phone, because there's two ways you can either apply online or you can call in to apply as well. They broke it down so certain days, certain alphabets can apply on certain days. I think Monday is A to J or something like that. So that's what they've done so far, But like I said, what it becomes is making the choice. And for independent contractors, my advice to them has been apply for both and see which one you get. Okay, apply for the EIDL, independent, starting tomorrow, April 10th. Independent contractors will be able to apply for the EIDL loan. Okay, and you can check the box that gives you a $10,000 emergency grant. So in applying for this, even if you do not get the full loan, I believe if they approve the $10,000, that's the grant portion of it. That's the portion that doesn't have to be paid back. Okay, so that in itself is worth putting in the application for, and see what's going to happen. If you're independent contracted, I say definitely apply for unemployment, because this is the first time in history that independent contractors can apply for unemployment. So please take advantage of it. These are unusual times, and it requires some unusual solutions, and this is one of the solutions that can help independent contractors.
So is EIDL a loan or a grant?
Well, EIDL is a loan. They are both loan packages. What they did though in EIDL was that they made it so that if they are approving a 10,000, you can actually have to check the box now. That's the number one thing. There's a box that's going to ask that question: do you want to apply for the $10,000 advance grant? Okay. And if you check that, and if you can get approved, and this is where the confusion begins. So there's been talk that this is going to be dispersed in 3 days. That's not correct. Right. After your loan is approved, the $10,000 would be dispersed with 3 days after the loan approval. It may take a week or two to get a loan approved. So when you apply, and our nonprofit WIBO, we applied yesterday for it as well. We are a nonprofit, so we're taking a shot and applying for it as well. So what happens is that as soon as we finish the application, we got a number. We're gonna keep that number, and the SBA is going to be contacting us at the email address if they need any additional documentation from us. Now, it should, and if the loan is approved, we would get the $10,000 within 3 days after that.
After the
You would not get $10,000 within 3 days of applying. Okay, that's been something that's been out there. It is not correct. Okay, and this is one of those things where there's a lot of perceptions flying around the internet and Facebook and other social media platforms. But the truth is, like I said, I've been on a conference call with several webinars with SBA officials. So the first thing is I'm on webinars with SBA officials who actually work there, and they're getting the front information of what's going on. So this is the situation. You apply, you get approved, $10,000 within 3 days. Only after you get approved. Okay.
Right.
There's no guarantee. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I spoke with the general manager of our mall today. She was looking for some information from me, and I was looking for information from her as well. And she said that she has a couple of businesses that have applied, and you apply. She said that they made sure that they were really, really insistent upon you keeping your application number, because that is the only way that they will be able to talk to you, and you have to know that number or something like that. And then there's a review process that may take about 14 days.
Correct.
So yeah, so it's about maybe a 2 to 3 week window before you get that approval, and then the 3 days will have, 3 days after the approval, you'll get the money.
Yeah, I'm not expecting to see businesses get checks until May. In all honesty, by the time they finish submitting the paperwork, because even for both loans, the PPP and for the and for the EIDL, there's some paperwork that you have to fill out that the SBA is going to want. So by the time you get the pay, and you have 7 days to get that paperwork to them. Okay, so they're being very clear. You have 7 days. So here's another thing. So some businesses are applying for both the PPP and the EIDL. You can't apply for both, first of all. Okay, the PPL, remember, is to pay pay your staff, pay your employees. You can also apply for the EIDL to take care of additional expenses, not liabilities, but expenses related to your business. You got outstanding invoices, you got rent to pay, rent is still due. You can pay those things with the EIDL. However, understand that whatever amount that you get from the EIDL is going to be deducted from your PPP. Okay? Excuse me. Any advance up to $10,000 on the EIDL will be deducted from the loan forgiveness amount of the PPP. Okay? So in the situation, if your loan forgiveness is $50,000, they're going to deduct $10,000 of that. So, amount on the PPP. Okay? The PPP has to be used for 8 weeks of payroll or employee retention. Okay? So there are businesses who are applying for both, and you can apply for both if that is your situation. In some industries, they are going for one or the other. It really depends. Okay? So the EIDL, you must use it for fixed debts. It can be used for payrolls, account payables, and other bills that can't be paid because of the disaster's impact. Okay, that's what the EIDL can be used for. The loan amount is up to $2 million. You're not getting more than $2 million to help meet financial obligations, and operating expenses which could have been met without the disaster. That means that if your business was operating on a normal scale, you would be able to meet all your obligations, and that's what you can use it for. Okay. The amount will reflect 6 months of operating expenses. So that's going to be the loan amount. The loan amount is going to be, so the first thing that they ask you for, I know when I filed, they want to know what was our 2019 operating expenses up until January 31st. What was our cost of goods sold? So those are questions that's on the EIDL loan. Okay. The interest rate. So the EIDL does have an interest rate. It's 3.75% for small businesses and 2.75% for private nonprofit organizations. So what is a private? So here's the first thing. Chamber of Commerce, as of right now, are not eligible for the EIDL. They are definitely hammering Congress to be included.
I'm sure.
Yes, but they're not included. When we talk about a private nonprofit, we're talking about a nonprofit that does not have a city, state, or federal entity portion to it. I also have realized that some churches are eligible as well, because there is a secular question, a couple of secular questions in the EIDL loan. So some churches are eligible. However, right now, chambers of commerce are not eligible. You have to be a 501c3 or 501c9 or tribal entity. So that's it. So far, there's no collateral requirements up to, well, they say loans of more than 25,000 will require collateral on the EIDL. Right now, it has not been finalized if the EIDL will require real estate collateral for loans under $500,000. You know, so if your loan is more than $25,000, then the SBA is going to want to know collateral. So something to also think about when you're applying. Do you have the type of collateral? Do you have collateral in your business to authorize? I mean, to put up for a $80,000 or $90,000 loan or $150,000 loan or whatever it is that you're going for outside of that $10,000. The $10,000 is just like a grant. Everything else from the EIDL is a loan. Okay. Yeah. Private nonprofits, with the exception of religious and charitable organizations, they're going to want the SBA. There's a bunch of forms they're going to want, which is a schedule of liability. They're going, as I told you, they're going to want the 4056 that can IRS will send copies of your tax returns. Yeah. And let's see, Form 95. Yeah. So another thing that's also important for people who apply for the EIDL on the old website before March 31st should apply again. They're asking people to apply again. The old website got taken down. The new website came live between March 31st and April 1st. So if you applied in March, I do know a few people who applied for EIDL in March. I've already told them apply again. Because the old website is not working. And that was the one, if you went to the website, had the 3 circles on it. That's the old one. The new one is a little bar streamline, goes from step 1 through step 5. So step 1, you're answering some questions about, how your business structured. And step 2 is the information, address and stuff about the business. Step 3 is the financial information. Step 4 is questions about the business owner's character. Okay. So if you've been convicted of certain crimes in a short period of time in the past 5 years, you're not eligible. Here's the interesting thing about EID. Yeah. So if you also owe the government money, if you defaulted on a loan or anything within the last 7 years, you're also ineligible. If any business owner who owns more than 20% in the business has been convicted, that business will also be ineligible. And it's all there when you're applying and asking those questions right there on the loan application.
What's the website again?
Hold on one sec. It's SBA.gov. I would say if you go to SBA.gov, the links are there to take you to all the areas. They got a whole big thing on COVID-19 right there on the page, and then you go to COVID-19 and you can go to where to apply for each loan that you want to apply for. Okay. A couple other things. Now, when it comes to nonprofits, so here's a question. This is something. It's show you how this. So the thing about the loan application for both the PP, well, either one of them, is they're asking about the owner of the business. So a nonprofit does not have an owner. Okay, so in these situations, everyone asks, what do you do? So you can't leave it blank. You got to put a name in there. So it will usually be either the executive director or the board chair. Okay. In our situation, what I did on the best information I had was I asked the board to vote whether to go for this loan. That really should be a board decision. And it also goes by what the bylaws of the nonprofit says. So if certain decisions need to be made by the board, especially when it comes to borrowing monies or stuff like that, then you let the board know and vote. And I actually had the board chair fill in the information. We both got on a Zoom conference and filled out the application online, and he inputted as the owner. We put 0 for business ownership because none of us own the business. Okay,
right.
So we put 0 as the ownership of the business, but you have to put in a name, and it needs to be you can your nonprofit can decide if it's a small nonprofit with only like 1 or 2 people, you don't really have a board, then I'm gonna have to say that you as the executive director founder, we need to put your name in there as well. Do not put in some people have put in NA, not applicable. I would not suggest that. And an interesting thing is that 6 different accountants gave me 4 different answers on that question. So that was interesting. Like y'all don't agree. The SBA didn't have an answer. Like so I'm like, okay.
So Stephen, is it
Mhm.
safe to say that this process will evolve as it unfolds?
Yes, it's evolving. I mean, it's evolving. I get a weekly FAQ update, which has been interesting because every week I get new questions that's being answered from the SBA because the banks are asking specific questions. So the SBA sends out a weekly FAQ giving me an update of what the new changes are or how they're responding to specific questions. Hold on one second. I need to make this other screen smaller so I can see one question. Yeah. So this is evolving. Like I said, they rushed it, and then in rushing certain things, you realize, we didn't think about this, we didn't think about that, and now they're starting to go back and answer those questions. Okay.
Now the interesting thing is, as far as SBA loans, every bank is not an SBA lender.
Correct. You got to find the one that's on the list.
Yes, and so
if you're going for the PPP, you got to find a lender that's on that list that's been approved to do that.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And so as I'm
so if they're not on the list, you can't. They're not going to take your application.
Wow.
Okay.
I put in.
So here's something that I need. Yes, here's something I need small business owners to understand. Going for this money is like running a race. Okay, and you're not just competing against what you consider a traditional small business. I see, like I said, I just got last week's FAQs on the Paycheck Protection Program, and they have waived the small business definition in specific cases. Okay, so you're going to have some businesses that are going to be applying for $20-30 million because they are a little over 500, but because of the industry that they're in, they still are eligible. Remember, this is a pool of money. When the pool of money is gone,
it's gone.
It's gone. There's no guarantee that this other $350 billion is going to be approved by Congress or not. We don't know, and I'm not going to speculate that you sit around and wait for it and see what's going to happen. So there's been certain situations I mentioned where I said that hotel chains and franchises can now also apply. So that means that the franchise chain can apply, the hotel chain can actually apply, as well as all of the independent hotels around in their markets and around the country in their markets can now also apply. Right. Okay, so basically every Marriott and Hilton and whatever else is also going to be can apply for PPP. Every outhouse steakhouse or whatever restaurant, Applebee's, whomever, they're going to be applying as well.
Whether they're franchise or individual owners.
Yes. And so if they're franchise, they're also included in this. So here's the thing. So the question was, does my small business have to qualify as a small business concern in order to participate? In addition, so the answer was no. In addition to small business concern, a business is eligible for a PP loan if it has 500 or less few employees whose principal place of residence is in the United States. However, right, PPP loans are also available for qualified businesses that have 500 few employees in a specific location, but that does not necessarily stop the chain owner from applying as well.
Okay.
So and think about it, for them right now, small business is defined by 500, a business with 500 or less employees. So if you think about it, many years ago, it used to be 200.
And in some cases, 50 has been the threshold for certain benefits related to small business.
Right.
And
Now, when it comes to the PPP, though, also I need y'all to understand that the banks are approving these loans, because they don't. It's not like you're applying. Usually you've got a SBA 7A loan. You really got a guarantee. So the SBA will say we guarantee 75% of the loan, and you go to the bank and you give your collateral, or whatever the case may be, and they will give you, approve the loan. So this is a little different. This is 100% guarantee, but still the banks are going to be asking for additional information as well. You got to be able to meet the bank's qualifications for that. As I just also said, they're going to be the ones responsible for determining if how much of the loan is going to be forgiven on the PPP. Okay.
Now I've read contradicting information related to will there be a credit criteria or not. Now there is a credit criteria.
Oh yes. I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay.
Because that was brought up on one of the conversations. So what I've heard was that they lowered the credit score approval rating to around 550. And I don't have that in writing. I'm being 100% honest with you all. Like I said, I don't have it in writing. It was during a conversation with SBA personnel, in which they said that we have lowered the credit rating to allow, because they figure that a lot of small businesses have been utilizing a lot of their credit cards and stuff to keep the business afloat, which is going to affect their overall score. Okay. So they said that they are allowing, and they're not looking at just the credit score, they look at the history. So if you got a history of, payments, you got 66 months or whatever of paying your bills on time, that will the low score may not matter. Once again, it's not in writing. Okay. I have not seen this in writing anywhere, but that conversation has been had. And remember, when it still comes to the PPP, the bank is making the final determination. That is why I said, if your bank is already a lender, is already approved lender, go to your bank first, the bank that you do business with, because they know more about your business, and you can have that all discussion. If you've been running a small business, you haven't really been serious about your banking, then I would say go to a credit union that's been approved, or a B Corp community bank that is approved to do the lending.
Now, when you say, this is one of the, as someone who champions small business and as we facilitate the WIBO program here in Waco, we understand that there are certain challenges related to minorities that are in business, and in a lot of cases we are underbanked, for the lack of a better term. With the lending criteria in the hands of the bank, is there a strategy that as a community we can take to kind of offset? Is there someone going to be reviewing these loans or something like this? Is there a third party that we can go to in the event that we turn down or something like that, because of whatever the individual bank's criteria is for turning us down? Because at that point, as much as we want to say it's based on a set of circumstances that the bank determines, a lot of their decisions, especially with small banks, are arbitrary, Steve. And so how do we get around that?
I don't have an answer for that. I'm being 100%, I'm always be transparent and honest with everyone who I talk to about this. I don't have an answer for that. Yes, I would say my thing is to work with the community banks that do support our communities. Go to them first. If that that would be my number one thing. So for me, I'm not gonna go to a Chase. I mean, we don't bank at Chase. We bank at TD Bank. But I've known Chase for a number of years. I used to bank with Chase and put a lot of money through their banks, and they, I was just another number to them. I understand that. My thing is that go to, and that's why I said the B Corp banks, the community banks, the local credit unions will be more acceptable of our small business dollars, and you can form a better relationship. Now, there's some other things that small business owners can do. There is a number of grants around the country that's providing money for, I know, like, I don't know what's available in Waco, but like in New York City, they stepped up and put several grants together for small business owners to apply for. If you've seen our newsletter, we listed a lot of resources outside of these two loan packages where small business owners can start to look for other funding as well. So this is the time to, like I said, first of all, remember, these are loans. So the number one thing about a loan, it has to be paid back. It's not a grant, but there are other foundations and philanthropy that are stepping up and making more money available to the small business market. I just recently read an article yesterday from the New York Times that talked about that digital small businesses is what's going to save the economy of this country. Okay, and it's true. Small businesses are the backbone of this country. We do the most hiring. And that's one of the reasons why these loan packages came out, because they realized that small business owners are the few. We hire more. It's not about corporate America. It is about us keeping our employees, our economies going, because we help our communities. That's the whole premise that WIBO is built on, is to create entrepreneurs who can help build their community, because as a small business owner, we provide more to the economy than just, someone who is employed. And also we employ, from the communities and stuff. But so there's some other things that, as a small business owner, you have to start to research and get out there and make some hard decisions. And I'll also say, you guys got a valuable tool on your website that you need to be leading people to, and that's our Survive and Thrive guide. I mean, that guide right there really could talk about how you're going to survive this pandemic, and actually maybe thrive and grow your business. So when this is over, you're going to be in a better place. So here's the first thing when it comes to small businesses: money is spent in good times and bad times. We have seen a lot of bad economies in this, and over the years. I actually was around in Waco.org. WIBOWaco.org. Yes.
I can't change it. I didn't make the comment.
I changed it. It's changed.
Okay. In 2008, I had the same threats when the financial markets crashed, and what was I going to do? And I pivoted my business. I took on I changed my whole business around, found a whole new customer base, and actually grew the company. So this is the opportunity for business owners to do that SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, and find where can they go and find new businesses, new customers. Just because you've been, and even more important, if you're closed down and you can't, let's say you run a beauty shop right now, you're a beautician and you're closed and you can't do hair, but you can still communicate with your tribe. You can still communicate with your customer and let them know what they can do to take care of their hair while they're on these Zoom meetings all day long. They still got to go to work. I know one beautician, she is sewing wigs together and mailing them to her clients. Say, here, put this wig on for now, so that you look good on these business Zoom meetings. And when I open up, we'll get back to work then. So there are things that business owners are doing that you can thrive. If you're a restaurant and you're only doing takeout, well, then make the takeout meal a magical experience. Make it an experience. People are more into the experience of something versus just you send them a takeout meal. Man, send them some candles and some cloth napkins, and let them have a candlelight romantic dinner for two.
They've added beer and wine. You can now get beer and wine along with your takeout.
Yes, but create an experience around. Don't just deliver a takeout meal. Make it a memorable experience so they remember your restaurant. And when things get,
some of the businesses have pivoted by adding milk and eggs and toilet paper, things that they can get in bulk from Cisco or whoever their distributor is, and you can purchase those things through them.
Well, as we talked about in our conversation we had earlier this week, Stephen, is
Mhm.
that you have to innovate in times like these. And
Yes,
you had a phrase, and I'll rephrase it: innovate or go out of business, because
that's right.
because the original quote that you made probably isn't appropriate during
No,
this.
it's not. It's not appropriate. I'm not going to use the original quote, but yes, innovate or be out of business. And the interesting thing about that's the way this country has been for the last 20 years. If you look at the say you picked up the 2000 Inc. 500 top businesses, right? And you look at the 2018 or even the 2019, you will see a number of those top 500 companies are gone. They did not innovate. Eastman Kodak did not
Sears,
innovate. Polaroid did not innovate. Blockbuster did not innovate. Blockbuster could have bought Netflix. Did not innovate. You don't innovate, you're not going to be around. The world is changing. I'm teaching in WIBO. We're talking about subscription-based business because everyone doesn't want to own stuff anymore. They want to subscribe to it, use it when they need it. That's why Zipcar and Lyft and Uber are growing companies. I haven't driven, like I said, I've driven twice in the last 2 years. I've actually been behind the wheel of a car 2 times in the last 2 years. I need to go somewhere. I'm in a Lyft, and I haven't owned a car since 2013 because when Zipcar came out and I could just go rent me a car for 4 or 5 hours and just pay for I didn't even pay for gas. I paid for tolls if I had to use tolls. That was it. So the world has changed. There's a paradigm shift in how people purchase, and it's up for small businesses who can move the fastest. See, small businesses have an advantage because they can move very quickly. They don't need to have 16 meetings and, all these other people to approve a project plan. So you could be the catalyst to really create something and grow something tremendous during these times. This is like the opportune time to be a business owner because the game is wide open. You can just come up and just come up with something brand new, different, and really just rock it. I mean, I've told my circle, I said, I'm jealous of you all because I'm running WIBO. That is my job. But at this point in life, I want to be running the company. My brain goes in overdrive, and I think about some of the things that I could do and would do that would be so different. And in my conversation with people who are inmates, they look at me like you just pumping out ideas. I'm like, this is wide open. The rules have been relaxed. You create your own rules now.
Right.
Absolutely. What is happening during this time is that the people who had the natural advantage no longer have the natural advantage anymore.
That's
because
right.
it's not about who has the biggest advertising budget, who can create the best atmosphere within it's not even location anymore.
No, it's not.
The playing field is level.
The playing field is level, and it's who can get me the product that I need at this point, fast and convenient and reliable. And that's all you have to be in this. And it's funny that I know in the last 3 weeks in our community, the small locally owned businesses have kind of led the way in being accessible to customers and things of that nature. And now that we see the chain restaurants that have kind of reopened, they're operating like a small mom and pop business because that to stay alive, that's what they're doing. They're because they realize that market share is going toward the local business, and they may never get it back if people form a habit of using some other service. So I think this is as much as a trying time it is for a lot of business owners, including us. It is also time to innovate and try some of those new ideas to support your customers, because that's what it's about. The emphasis is not on what the business has, it's what they can provide to the customer.
Yeah, here's what the first paragraph, or not the first paragraph, but in the introduction of the guide that I wrote and you guys have on your website for people to download, And you got to make sure you put in .org is WIBOWaco.org, not .com, .org. Now I'm going to go see if we got that domain imported to .org. I talked about what you focus on is what expands. If you're a business owner and you're focusing on all the doom and gloom, you're not going to see the opportunities.
Right.
And it's going to be very difficult for you to find those opportunities and make that pivot, make that shift, because you're focused so much on listening to the reports every night, or you're on social media, and I have to admit, here in New York, we're seeing a lot of people. There's not a post I can go by of someone I don't know where someone has been stricken by COVID-19 or someone has lost someone. There's a lot of losses here in New York City. It's always 6 degrees. It's not even 6 degrees of separation. And some of it is even closer, but the thing is that if I spend my days just focusing on all the bad that's going on, I can't see the good and I can't help people. Remember, we say our whole number one goal is that we, give up, or give back or give up. So I encourage my tribe to find what you can do positive, focus on positive solutions, do whatever you can do that's going to make a positive change in someone's life, and it could be a small act, and for us, it's been about providing as much expert information and correct information as we could. That's why I spent quite a bit of hours on webinars, on conference calls, had a conversation, a 45 conversation with my U.S. senator, to really get to understand, what this loan package means. What is you guys going to do to help this economy jumpstart when it gets better, when this pandemic passes, and it will pass. How long, we don't know. That's the thing. And I also let people also say that when it comes to this pandemic, no one has all the answers. Okay. Right. There's a lot of perception and guesses out there. So you yourself have just as much a best guess knowledge as everyone who's appearing on the nightly news next to 45 and everybody else, or your local governor or mayor, if they're going on TV and regular, newscasts and talking about this. There's a lot that we don't know. And what you don't know is what causes fear. Yeah. And I would say to move away from that as much as you can. Yes, you want to be informed, make no mistake about that, but do your best to move away from that and move into stuff that's going to be positive. How can you help your client base today? What can you do for them to help them understand that what you still provide is a valuable service? That's been my preaching. I'm gonna call it preaching. That's been my preaching to small business owners. That's what's in the introduction to the guide. And then the guide goes into 12 steps that you can go through. Surround yourself with people that's going to challenge you, help you with ideas as well. We call that the mastermind portion of it. Look at expenses that you can cut. That is, there's some things that, we waste money on and we don't realize because it's that automatic credit card deduction, and maybe some things that we realize that, hey, I've been paying for this. Like I'm looking at my gym membership. I haven't been to Blink in over 6 months, but they suspended collection, but I don't know. I may just come off when it go when they turn back on. Like I haven't been.
You might get used to those home workouts, huh?
Hey man, look, man, I got a treadmill behind me. I got my bike in the corner. I got my weights at the bottom. I'm good. Well, I don't need my Blink membership.
I know you're a runner. It should be nice, free and clear for you to run around New York City. We got the distance rule. I got to keep 6 feet. New York has gotten really, actually, hold on 1 second. Oh, sorry about that. New York actually has closed all their parks here. We're really gotten tight on social distancing. Mm-hmm.
Understandably.
The supermarket, you have a line outside the supermarket, keep you 6 feet apart. You get into the supermarket, you got a line keeping you apart while you wait when you finally get to checkout. So I put up an article today about how to find some of the best delivery circles. Shopping in the city is, I walked past the CVS drugstore. They got a long line. They got 15, 20 people standing outside that, and the line is long because everybody got 6 feet distance between them. So here in New York, we're locked down. I go out once about every 3 days. I went out today. Today was the first day. I went out Monday briefly, and then I went out today and did my shopping. So I'm not, and I may not see me outside till next week. Until things get better.
It is so haunting to see Times Square with nobody there.
Yes. Yeah, I don't really stare and look at those photos anymore. It's so surreal, It's interesting but the good news is I hear more of the birds in the morning. Besides, I don't hear all the honking horns. I get to hear the birds. And so, I think the earth is healing from this. But getting back to what's really important is for your audience is explore all available resources. This is the opportunity to explore all available resources. I would, like I said, apply for the PPP and the EIDL. You're either going to get it or not get it. If you're an independent contractor or if you're in that space between being a sole proprietor or independent contractor, apply for both EIDL and unemployment. Hopefully you get one. I would say, and I'm not even going to discuss that $1,200. I'm not even going to get into that one.
That is,
like I said, unless you got a bank account and you pay some taxes last year, you automatically know you ain't getting the check. If you owe child support, you ain't getting the check.
There's some stipulations out there that have a lot of people out of that 1,200. And then at the end of the day, as much as it felt like it was pulling teeth in the Congress about, at the end of the day, the $1,200 isn't going to nearly do the impact that they thought it would when they started. $1,200 is just going to be scratching the surface with some of the losses that people have taken.
Here in New York, the average rent is well over $1,200. So that's the thing. I would say with small businesses, if you're renting space, negotiate with your landlord. I know that here in New York, the city council is attempting to pass a number of bills that will waive rent payments for 6 months. And here's my thinking on this: if you got the money, pay the people. Because your landlord still has to pay, he still has to provide heat and hot water, electricity. He has bills. Their landlord got bills to pay as well. I've seen a number of situations where malls have, tenants in malls already said, we ain't paying you this month. So now the mall owners have to figure out what they're going to do. And I'm quite certain they're applying for the PPP and the EIDL too.
Exactly.
So they apply for those loans as well. So we got to think about, and don't just if you can afford to, talk to your creditors, talk to have the conversation. Don't just make assumptions that because you don't have the money, you don't have to pay. And I consistently say this to the small businesses, but sometimes you feel embarrassed maybe to have that conversation, but the whole country is feeling what you're feeling.
Absolutely.
So I have the conversation, let them, give people say, hey, look, man, things are a little tight right now, but by this date, whatever the case would be. So even here with WIBO, I've had a few conversations because, our checks are slow coming in. The mail is not even moving correctly in New York because of so many USPS, so many postal workers are sick and a number have already passed away. So we got stuff that's in the mail hasn't gotten to us yet. So I've had conversations. Well, it's going to be a week later, something like that. We're pretty. I will say this. The WIBO Foundation we're pretty secure. Our board has stepped up. We're moving ahead with our fundraising and everything else. We're prepared for everyone else when they begin their workshops. I would say if you get close to having a class launch. This is an opportune time where there's a number of people who are right now on unemployment who's really thinking about taking their side hustle legitimately. So here in New York, we're going to start an online class next month, a 10-week online class. and actually we got some of the individuals already signed up have been people who could not finish their first class when they first took WIBO because maybe their job or whatever else may be. So now they're home, they're not working, so now they're ready to work on their on their side hustle. So that's what we've been responding to as well, you know. So we're in pretty good shape, you know. I'm blessed that my family is also in good shape, you know, as well. So I'm just saying for everyone out there, if whatever you're feeling, focus on a positive thought, change the conversation that you have with yourself. The fear is not going to help you. It's going to keep you stagnant. It's going to keep you from not living life the way you want to live. I mean, yes, we're stuck indoors, but there's still a lot of things we can do. I know we did a webinar on leadership, and one gentleman, you know, he expressed that, you know, wow, the conversation he's had with his wife is now incredible because they both home now, you know, so they're not just passing one another going to work and stuff, you know. So there's opportunities, you know, families connecting a little bit more, you know. You discover stuff that's happening that, you know, didn't happen. You know, you get opportunity, you know. I mean, yes, we're FaceTiming more, we're using Zoom within our family groups and stuff. But those are all good things that we can take with us and use that to build upon ourselves, you know. And I'm quite certain there's some people out here who got some ideas for some businesses. And I'm gonna tell you right now, the reason I say this is an exciting time because you can negotiate better right now for supplies and things that you need to start your business. You can really, they're going to be suppliers that's going to want to talk to you now because they got stuff they got to get rid of. I mean, with the interest, we don't talk about the food. Our food system is massive. There's a massive amount of food that's going to waste because there's no one to pick it. There's no wholesale that's been selling to restaurants are now trying to sell to individuals because they got food that's, you know, the restaurants are not buying what they used to buy, and a lot of them are not open. So they got a lot of inventory that's going to waste. There's a lot of inventory that's going to be cut rate for you to start your business and utilize and take advantage of. That's why I said this is kind of the exciting time to start a business because a lot of things are a lot less inexpensive than it would have been when the economy was really good last year.
And it brings you to the other thing I brought you on for is because you are the national CEO of the WIBO program, Workshop and Business Opportunity. And we haven't started our spring class yet because we were hampered by COVID-19. I admire the resilience of the city of New York and the New York WIBO classes because you guys are already having classes. You guys are just doing them online rather than doing them in person. And that's what we're probably going to have to do here in Waco, at least to start off our spring class.
Well, let me show you something. This is actually our class online right now. This is our Brooklyn class. I'm actually going to unmute the Brooklyn and bring them on. And hold on 1 second. Let me get my headset. Let me do it like this. Where I put my headset?
You see all those verifying flags together?
There we go. Okay, so Brooklyn, I mean, I want to let you know that this is Waco here. I'm here with Waco, Texas, talking to them. Oh, let me get rid of my background's a little crazy. I just want to let y'all know that Waco is watching you. They're very proud of what you guys doing online, and y'all way past 9 o'clock too. well, they're having so much fun. It's like 9 something. They still going on. I mean, this must be a good class.
Do you know what lesson they're on in the program?
They're on lesson 6. They starting break-even analysis this week.
Oh my! Hey, well, in that case, you know why they're on after 9 o'clock.
Exactly.
Because that's one of the most that's one of the most challenging modules, and also probably out of the 16 is probably the most important of them all. Because
we moved our classes online pretty early when we saw things start to change. We didn't wait for the order. What happened was one of our participants had contacted me. She felt really nervous about coming to class, and this one, the virus was really starting to go. And then I got another contact from another one of our Asian participants, and she was real nervous because of violence against Asians. And, we end at 9 o'clock, and, then you got to take public transportation home. So after those two messages, I just had a quick conversation with our board chair, and we went online immediately. Yes, clothing manufacturer prices have gone down. That's true. That's another good reason to get into business. So here's the thing, that the online group is,
and that is a WIBO graduate right there, Dominique Corsi.
Yes,
she is a WIBO graduate.
Great, congratulations. So WIBO is online. We have a proprietary system that we use also besides Zoom, but we ramped up very quickly on Zoom because it was better, quicker. And had to teach all the work group leaders and stuff how to use the new proprietary one that we have, even though we know it's a better fit for the peer-to-peer learning that we do. However, the same things are happening here. Everyone is these groups are actually I'm really proud of them because they're operating the same as if they was in the classroom. Okay, so they're doing the same things. They're reading the answers out. They're getting feedback. They're having these really in-depth conversations that happens in the WIBO classroom. The case studies are getting played. We're going through everything. Lucien, who was doing the Unit 6, everything is up on the whiteboard. So he's been sharing the whiteboard, and he has an Excel spreadsheet where they're putting in their numbers and stuff. So it is almost as if we were still in the classroom. We're just now digitally connected. And in some situations, we have reached out and helped some of our participants get the equipment that they needed. That's the two things that we had to consider in this. Is not everyone will have the equipment needed or the technology needed. So in certain situations, we have made tablets available so they can get online and share their work as well, or even a mobile hotspot so they can get internet connection or good internet connection. So here's the thing. If this next cohort is going to come online, don't let the technology not stop anyone from participating. We can help get equipment to anyone who wants to participate and don't have, because you may have a good smartphone, but the smartphone is not going to really be the applicable thing to do these video conferencing and then share your homework on your screen and do everything else that you need to do. It's going to be very difficult. You're going to need a tablet, an iPad, or Samsung. Maybe the Fire Stick 10 can do some of the work and can do some of the work as well. I actually have one of each of those that I've been testing out in different scenarios. Or you're going to need a laptop, and it could be 11-inch the Chromebooks or the laptops like that. If you're not in an area where you got good internet connection, or you don't have it, and right about now, some of the largest companies are providing 60 days of internet for free for people who don't have it. Our workshop's a lot longer than 60 days, but we can work on getting mobile hotspots into people's hands. Okay, so the thing is, if they got the passion, enthusiasm, they're ready, they want to grow, they want to become a business owner. We're not going to let technology stand in the way of that. I would say access to the technology to stand in the way of that.
And the other part of it, this also provides a level of convenience for our volunteers that wasn't afforded before as well. So we're trying to pull everything together and also recruit students at the same time for the WIBO programs, because it's so important. This is a foundational business program that every entrepreneur, whether you're just starting your business or if you've already been in business, if you haven't had the training in WIBO, I assure you it's transformational. It will provide tools that you can use in your current business or in the business that you're launching that will take it to the next level, no doubt.
Right. So yeah, definitely. And I would say also research here in New York, we have a program called SEEP under the New York State and Unemployment Office. And what SEEP does is that if a person who's on unemployment and they have a business idea and they take a course, entrepreneurial course for 20 hours, I think 20 hours has to be, they can keep their unemployment benefits, and they will be waived from having to go report the whole look for work thing. So I would see if your state has something similar to that, because if they do, that would be a great opportunity for those individuals to take part in the WIBO program, because that's what we've done.
That's a great transitional program.
Yes, we opened it up to definitely made it known to see those who are, filing for unemployment, got their side hustle ready to go live. That's the reason why we are launching the online WIBO class next month, because we already know there's a market out there of individuals who are ready to take, and take their side hustle to the next level. And just because they are unemployment, is a good time. They could keep their unemployment benefits, take it approved out, when our instruction is 48 hours, of instruction. So we definitely we're definitely more than the state allowance, the state mandated number. Okay. So take a look and see if there's a similar program available from Texas Department of Unemployment. If there is, then now's the time to have that have that conversation with individuals and let them know they could take advantage of the WIBO workshop online and keep their unemployment benefits.
It's called SEAP, SEAP.
In New York, it's called SEAP, SEAP. In New York, that's what it's called.
Okay.
But like I said, the premise of the program is that they present to the unemployment office their business idea. And they get approved, and then they can take a workshop like WIBO for the hours, and then work on starting their business.
Oh, that's awesome!
While keeping their unemployment benefits.
It should be offered in some type of retraining program as well. But I'll definitely look into it.
We'll find that out.
Yeah,
definitely look into it. Did you guys have to get your program certified in any way through the state?
No.
Okay.
No. They just said you had to be a entrepreneur program that's providing at least 20 hours of entrepreneur training.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, well, Stephen, I appreciate you coming on and talking to us here and providing so much needed knowledge and clarity as it relates to the small business loan programs that are available through SBA. I always will use you as a resource as for things of this nature. WIBO is an amazing program, and I'm glad you came on to kind of explain everything that WIBO offers as well. So, do you have anything you want to say, Keisha?
No. I just thank you, Stephen, for again coming on and spending your time. You are a wealth of knowledge, and if nobody knows that, I know it.
and it's funny. The last thing I'll say is we had probably a whole dinner, one dinner is specifically talking about online WIBO, and and before it's good that you already had all of the infrastructure in place to support it.
The plan was there. It just got kicked in a whole lot quicker than what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
We went online. I think we went online after about the third lesson around the second week of March. We've been online for about 3 or 4 weeks now. So we went online as this whole thing was breaking and growing in the New York City area. And like I said, my focus was I was going to bring WIBO online like in May. After this class was almost done, after this cohort was almost done, and I was going to actually start to launch WIBO online in May. That was my plan. Interesting thing about a plan, right? But like I said, we were prepared. We knew what we were doing. I had actually started putting together contingency plans back in late February. I started seeing that things may take a turn. So in February, we started thinking about what we would do if our facilities were closed, because we use several colleges. So if any of those colleges was closed down, what would we do? So we started thinking about that in February, and I was hoping that trigger probably would not have been gotten pulled until the end of March or something like that. But like I said, when my participants started to have concerns, and I was like, you're 100% right. Then we said, okay, let's just go online. And that's what I mean. Learn to respond to your customers and your clients. And that's what we did. We responded to them. And like, okay, we're not going to risk anyone else's health. We're going online immediately. And everyone, as you can see, they're actually still in this class. It's past 9:30. No, 924. And they are still having a good time over here. Interesting. But they have, like I said, all of our classes we're running 4 cohorts this year. All 4 cohorts are doing a great job. Hold on one second. Let me just need to go to none. These cohorts are still here, still having this conversation ongoing, and they're still having fun. So it's like I know a few people do miss the face-to-face, and one of the good things I like is that now I can interact with all 4 classes each night and actually see what's going on and make sure that we're following the WIBO way. And actually now I could jump in and give some advice or different ways of how they can see their business. So I've been able to do that as well from just sitting here in my living room with my desk. Which is a lot easier than when I had to travel to all these locations.
Actually, I'm sure it's like command and control there, with all the classes up and everything that you're observing. So yeah,
but I would say this is a great time for you guys to start to interview WIBO people. We can turn the registration on whenever you're ready. And if you want to do it if you're ready to do an online class, we're definitely ready to support you in that. Like I said, let participants know that let's not let technology be in the way. Success in this country is going to really, for small businesses, is going to be the use of technology. Make no mistake about it. I don't care if you talk to any small business development commissioner who's running the Department of Small Business Services. That's what they're going to tell you. Is that you gotta be utilizing technology. Hold on one second. You done, Wayne? Hold on one quick second. Wayne, Dwayne, you done? Yeah, you done. Okay, I can end this meeting. Yeah, hold on one second. Okay, there we go. So that's where we are today. I know I'll be talking to the other affiliates. Actually, St. Louis is online as well. St. Louis began their cohort like 2 weeks before we did. So we began the last week of February. They began almost the beginning of February, and they immediately also went online, just like everybody else. So their cohort is online. They probably think it should be at the end of break-even analysis by now. So that's where we are with that. Bridgeport, Connecticut was hoping to go live the end of this month. They was actually the week behind you. No, the week before your scheduled cohort. They was hoping to go on. They're hoping to go live April 20th. I don't know. I'll have a conversation with them tomorrow. We'll figure out if they're gonna go online or if they're gonna hold off and do their first class live. That decision is also up to you all. If you want to hold off and do this next class live, that's really your decision. We're not going to tell you what you need to do, okay? Because I don't know your area. You know your area. You know your business owner, your constituents better than I do. So I leave that in decision up to you all in Waco. Okay, just let everyone know whatever we can do to support you, we got your back.
Got it. Right. Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stephen. I appreciate it.
Sure.
and for everybody who tuned in and listen, if you have any questions, put the questions in the comments. I'll tag Stephen on the broadcast, and maybe if he can answer the question, he'll check back and take a look at.
I'll do my best. Here's the thing: we're gonna get the question answered one way or the other. I don't have all the answers. Make no mistake about it. But I have a network. So the good news is that if I don't have an answer, there's somebody I could pick up a phone or send a text message or email to and say, "Hey, I need to know something." That's what I pretty much do. A lot of my answers don't come from just me knowing stuff. It comes from me asking my tribe questions as well. That's basically how I managed to get things done, is that I have a great support team, a great support tribe. I got some great individuals who have built some great successful businesses, got a wealth of knowledge, and they allow me to tap into it, knowing that this is helping all of our small businesses. Okay, so I would say whatever question they have, definitely post it, and we could find an answer.
All right. Okay. I appreciate everything, Stephen, and thanks for tuning in. Much love, and we're out.
Okay. Thank you.